Mayor Catherine Pugh of Baltimore was recently elected in 2016, and one of her main campaign promises was that she would get elected and raise the minimum wage. But you don't have to take my word for it. Here's what she had to say about the minimum wage.
I don't think there's anybody that wants more to see the minimum wage increase than I do. And in fact, I fought very hard, along with my other colleagues in Annapolis, to increase the minimum wage.
I don't think there's anybody that wants to see the minimum wage increased more than I do. Excellent. This is what I wanted to hear. So, the good news is that the Baltimore City Council recently passed a bill that would in fact raise the minimum wage to $15 by 2022. Now, they would do this gradually every couple of years. So this is a great way to stimulate the economy. This will really help the residents of Baltimore. So since you have a pro-minimum wage mayor and a city council that just passed a $15 minimum wage bill, this should theoretically be a win for progressives, right? Well, actually, during the press conference about this bill, something really weird happened, opposite of what you think would have happened.
So I believe that it is in the best interest of the city that we follow the state, that we are on an increase currently, which again, I reiterate, will take place this July 1, 2017, and then again 2018. And I think we take a look at what happens in Annapolis, because you know how sometimes it takes a few years for a bill to get passed, and it's already been introduced. So for those reasons and the economic impact that I think that this has on the city, making us the hole in the donut, it is not appropriate at this time that I would sign this bill. So I am vetoing this bill. Okay, any questions?
I have a question. So, why would you campaign on raising the minimum wage if you would ultimately veto a bill when city council tried to raise the minimum wage? So in other words, you brazenly lied to your constituents, and she talked about this all the time on the campaign trail. She talked about how she wanted to raise the minimum wage. But she vetoed it once they actually raised the minimum wage. Now, her reasoning for this is twofold. So first of all, she claims that the state already raised the minimum wage to $9.25. So Baltimore, they shouldn't jump ahead of the state. They should follow the lead of the state. And for her second reason, she actually uses right-wing talking points to justify her decision. The Baltimore Sun explains, while she supported the higher wage during the campaign, she has warned for weeks that she was concerned a $15 minimum wage in Baltimore would hurt city businesses and stretch an already tight budget. Now, let me remind you that raising the minimum wage does not hurt businesses, especially if you do it gradually, and this bill in fact did that. Now, what's really sad about this story is that Mayor Pugh actually had grassroots momentum behind her. Her constituents actually believed that she would in fact raise the minimum wage because she talked about it constantly. In a Facebook post from a local union leader, Mark McLaren, he wrote, "I regret asking them to give their weekends and evenings to knock on doors for her based largely on my assurances about who she was and what her value system was. I'm so really bitterly disappointed," McLaren said in an interview. "We had members out for her every single weekend. I'm now getting calls from all those members asking what happened." Now again, to remind you, she talked about raising the minimum wage at campaign events all the time. However, she's now saying, well, you know what, the state, they're already raising the minimum wage to $9 an hour, so we're done. We can wash our hands with it. Not to mention that, $9 is much different than $15 an hour. It would make a substantial difference in the lives of people that live in Baltimore, but you know what? The state's raising the minimum wage, so why would you come to me, someone who you elected to raise the minimum wage? Go to your state government. I mean, this is so frustrating, and people wonder why progressives are so hard on Democrats. See, at least with the Republicans, they just outright say, you know what, we're not going to raise the minimum wage. But for this individual, this liar, she campaigned on raising the minimum wage, and when city council does it, she vetoes it. This is why the Democratic Party has been wiped out at every single level at government. It's because they just brazenly lied to their constituents. They campaign on certain values. They pretend to be with you. They pretend to be with the grassroots. But the minute they get the chance to betray you, They stick that knife in and then they twist it. This is such a disgusting move that everyone who lives in Baltimore should be petitioning people in city council to override this veto, or they should be protesting outside of Catherine Pugh's office, because what she did, the lie that she told her constituents who influenced grassroots activists to knock on doors for her when she was going to betray them, it's reprehensible. What you did, Catherine, is despicable. You're a liar.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.